during SMS, and in it is our Ukrainian creation, the state in a smartphone. Here we're not afraid of reforms. We are transforming. The digitization's heart is beating. Here we have breakthroughs, even if it's impossible. Here we are writing the new history. This is a new trajectory. Here the state and me. Here is Diia. Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you in this venue. We welcome everyone who has been joining us through the live feed in the largest event of the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, Diia Summit. This is a specially created format to present the new and updated digital services every half a year. The state in the smartphone has become the new normal in Ukraine, and the entire world is watching and is closely watching our innovations and technologies. We are shortening the queues in administrative establishments and creating new services to facilitate the lives of Ukrainians. This is what Diia is for, and Diia is making the life of everyday Ukrainians simpler and more comfortable. To open Diia Summit, we are proud to invite Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky, the President of Ukraine. Good morning, everybody. There's so many of you. It brings me so much joy to see you here, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be afraid to dream. And this is the words that I would like to kick off our third Diia Summit with. Because even both the video that we have just seen and the event that we are holding right now is about just that. Don't be afraid to dream. 3 years ago, we started to talk about the state in a smartphone, and that was but a dream. And 2 years ago, we started to build this dream, and that was a huge challenge. Today, over 14 million Ukrainians live in the digital Ukraine. And that is the new reality. 14 million is a landmark number. Because I think just as many times I have been told that I am crazy or our team is crazy to try to create a digital Ukraine. But honestly, together, I really wanted to create it. I really believe that, and I'm happy that all of you believe this with me. And you'd be surprised that 14 million people actually voted for me in the Ukrainian presidential election in 2019. 3 years ago, I told everyone about my dream of Ukraine, and this was actually documented by the elections committee. A dream has become a promise, and the promise has become a goal. And you know, you wait for things promised for 3 years, but we managed to do it in 2. We dreamed about a state that allows our citizens to obtain quality services. And for me, first and foremost, this is about speed and about convenience. When 10 services in 15 minutes, you submit one application in 15 minutes to obtain 10 services for a newborn baby. And our baby is only 2 years old, and this service is only 2 years old, but 9 out of 10 Ukrainian families take advantage of this service to register their newborn baby. When over 1 million entrepreneurs and citizens obtain and receive 8,000 hryvnias of state assistance. When your smartphone holds all of your necessary documents, when your smartphone allows you to pay taxes and fines and social contributions and tax returns, or even submit petitions or receive subsidies or pensions. 2 years we have been analyzing the life situations of Ukrainian citizens, where Ukrainian citizens would interact with the state. And we would strive to digitize our services into the digital realm. I think one of the more popular services is changing of domicile, of changing the registration, which used to be bureaucratic hell, is becoming a thing of the past. Because everyone who has tried to do that in paper would be very frustrated. But now we are abolishing all of these lines, all of these military registrations, civilian registrations. All of this is now going to be accessible in just several clicks in your smartphone. And the certificate number A4, which you had to carry around with your passport, forget about it. And of course, we realize that mistakes have been made, and some thousands of our citizens who have registered sole proprietorships in Diia for 7 minutes, because we said that you will be able to do it in an hour. And maybe we should apologize to some officials who have been laid off because of our digitization. Because, for example, we have been able to digitize construction permits without any participation of public officials. Now you can, completely online, you can receive a construction permit. This and dozens of other services save our citizens time, money, and nerves. And they also shift the philosophy of the relationship between the government and its citizens. Digital transformation transforms public administration, and a good proof of that is our e-support program. In 2 weeks, only 2 weeks, this is the most popular service in the history of Ukraine, which is a 1,000 hryvnia assistance from the state to all vaccinated citizens, which they can spend for sports, theaters, museums, books, trips around Ukraine. 8 million Ukrainians took advantage of this service. And the spheres affected by COVID-19 have received 2.6 billion hryvnias of assistance through this program. And the entire world has understood that Ukrainians are a reading nation, because one in 3 citizens has spent their money from this assistance program on books. And all of these figures are about digitization. This is what people can say. Yes, we have a service. Yes, we have support from the state. Of course, this is not 100% digitized state, but this is not the Paleolithic medieval state, and even not the state that we remember it in 2018. This is the new reality that has become the new normal in only 2 years. On the 6th of February in 2019, we have presented Diia, and to create it, we have not spent a single dime from the state budget of Ukraine. And the Diia 1.0 had the driver's license and passport in your smartphone. And that was revolutionary. And now we have over 20 documents. And in the Diia portal, now we have over 50 state services, permits, licenses available for you in the click of a button. We have become the 4th country of Europe to implement an e-driver's license. And that was a pride for us. But we were the first in the world to launch a digital passport, which would be 100% digital equivalent of a paper passport. And that was fantastic. And we were the first to join the EU with the fully EU-compatible COVID certificate, which has been generated by 10 million Ukrainians. And now this has become convenient, this has become customary, this has become something that our citizens expect from us as a digital state. And that, I believe, is beautiful. Because the more we achieve, the harder it is to amaze the citizens of Ukraine, and the more ambitious our plans become. We are now planning to hold a census together with Apple. We are implementing digital customs, and we strive to become an IT and tech hub of Europe. And now it doesn't sound so fantastic anymore, does it? And after launching this initiative, it's going to become quite achievable, in my opinion. And regarding our initiative, we are launching Diia City. You're not happy, are you? Diia City, give me more applause, please. Amazing. Diia City is the digital capital of our electronic state. This is one of the best tax and legal regimes on the planet. Which understands the language of venture capital. We are transforming Ukraine into a country of startups and product companies. Thanks to Diia City, we expect the share of GDP, tech GDP of our country to grow from 4 to 10%, up to $16.5 billion, making it one of the largest tech hubs in Europe. We want to build the most convenient state of the world in terms of public services, and the world has been moving along as well. And the most important thing any state has is the people. And the talented people are a foundation of each economy. And we want not only talented Ukrainians to stay at home, but also to invite and engage global talents to come and join Ukraine. This is why we want not only Ukrainian companies, but also foreign companies to join Diia City. And as far as I know, there is a cohort of both Ukrainian and foreign companies who already have expressed their intention to join Diia City. Digital state is about equality. And our goal is to provide quality broadband internet access to each corner of our state and country, and to grant every citizen with the possibility to access high-speed internet. Objectively, right now, we have difficulties with that. We are now expanding the e-support program to allow senior citizens to pay for utilities and for medicines, but not every senior citizen has a smartphone. We have launched an educational course on digital literacy, but we're launching a new program where each vaccinated citizen of Ukraine who is 6 years old or older can receive a smartphone free of charge with a subsidized tariff. This is our dream, and this is becoming a reality. A free and equal internet access to each citizen of Ukraine, and the ability to influence state policy through the smartphone and through the internet. And this is democracy in its purest form, both online and offline. And today we're making the first step in this direction. Please, ladies and gentlemen, your attention to the screen. Hi, everyone. On the presidential election, we have authored a program together with you, and together with you, we have defined one of its key directions, which is democracy, which means the possibility to make important decisions together, including online, using the most modern technology. And today, we are taking our first step there. Diia is going to launch the surveys function, which is one of the first tools of electronic democracy. And for millions of citizens, this is going to be the possibility to voice your opinion and influence state policy. Quickly, it's a chance for us to quickly gauge public opinion in real time, in real figures. And for all of us, in fact, this is a start of digital democracy. And the first question is very simple, and it's not very consequential. Let's say this is a warm-up for the system. Today, we have the new services launching in Diia, and which one of those is the most useful for you? It's the absence of criminal record, surveys, or change of the place of registration. Pick your option and watch digital democracy evolve in Diia and influence the development of our state. And the second question is serious and positive and very responsible. And your reply is going to influence the consequences of a large state program which concerns our senior citizens. The advantages of the digital state have to be available equally for everyone. And this is why everybody who is 60 years old or older is going to receive a free fast smartphone. And we thought about how to name this program. It would be Babushka phone, which would be discriminatory to our granddads. So the third option was e-smartphone, which means each person could say, yes, smartphone, which means I have a smartphone in Ukrainian. Please pick an option which you believe is the best. And remember, this is all just the beginning. By the way, all of these surveys are already available in your smartphones. Like I said, we start with some very simple questions, baby steps in our program, but I hope that in the next Diia Summit, we will have a lot to tell you about, a lot to be proud of, and we will have a lot of achievements which we can amaze you with, and more ambitious plans, which will amaze you even more, and you and the world. But we are not afraid of that, because we know that yesterday it was a dream, today it becomes Diia and an action. Glory to Ukraine. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President, for this opening word. And now we are happy to invite Olenna Zalenska, the First Lady of Ukraine. Hello, everyone. I won't take as long. First of all, I have to say this. Just like millions of our fellow citizens, I also use Diia. And I'm really proud that this amazing product was created in Ukraine, of all places. I think this is really a step into the future, and this is something we really have to be proud of. And this is something you can't help liking. And I really like the innovation and the convenience and the name behind it. I think it really strikes the point, because Diia, which translates as action in English, it grants our citizens a freedom of action. Because before you would have to stand in lines, and you have to spend a lot of time and spend a lot of your life trying to interact with the state. But now, state services in one click is a step towards a possibility of equal opportunity. This is a step towards a society which would be comfortable to each and every one of us. And this will become a state with no barriers, without gender and age restrictions or health restrictions.
Now we're implementing the barrierlessness on all of the levels, from the ramps to the access to job places, and really it is necessary for these barrierlessness to be implemented at the digital level as well. Today I will tell you about 2 chapters of Diia which are really needed for that exactly. So 2 years ago there was a community created, Business Without Barriers or Obstacles. The participants of these platforms are the big Ukrainian and international businesses who decided to share their experience at the portal of Diia. The chapter of Business Without Barriers can be seen on the screen now. So here we collected successful cases of barrierless activity in Ukraine, how to create job places and to create job places for the people with disabilities, how to overcome age restrictions, how to create equal opportunities for parentship and so on, researches, practices, video prompts. We've got all the necessary information for the companies which share the values of this barrierlessness. So today Diia is not just state services, this is the training, professional implementation, communication, and the platform is obviously becoming something more than just e-documents. It is becoming the platform for the changes in the country. Rather often I repeat that in the core of all of the changes should be the human being, the person. Between the human being and the technologies, there should not be a single obstacle or barrier. For that, for the sake of that, our digital transformations have to take into account the needs of different kinds of users, not just the ones who know that well, but those who don't know it well. Not only the people who are young, but the older people or people with disabilities. So my second message, I'm happy to tell you that rather soon, in March, we will have the new chapter in Diia Barrierlessness. It is done by a powerful team of Ministry of Digital Transformation with the support of UNDP. And I've already said that it wouldn't just be a chapter, it will be a special task force. And its, vocation is to simplify the communication with the state for the older people, the people with disabilities, for all of the groups of the population for whom not all of the state services were useful or convenient to use or friendly. Moreover, rather often the information from the state is needed during the times of changes in our life, on the wave of our emotions. That is why they should be as accessible as possible. In this way, in a friendly and humane way, our Diia barrierlessness was invented for. Here we'll describe how you can get the discounts or any of the documents or any of the services. You'll get to know how to act in the complicated life circumstances. You'll get to know about your rights and responsibilities. And we would really like Diia barrierlessness to become this bridge, and in this case it is reasonable to say a convenient ramp between the online and offline state services or public services for those who really need them so much. In this way, Diia will become even more acting. The citizens will have more freedom of actions, and the citizens will have not that many barriers and obstacles left. Thank you so much for your attention. And now we invite to the stage the head of the Parliament, Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, Mr. Ruslan Stefanchuk. Good day, Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, and respectful participants of Diia Summit. Well, you know, in fact, when it was mentioned 3 years ago, it seemed to be science fiction. It seemed to be some dream, non-achievable dream. It can happen, but we didn't know the way along which we will step along. So if we think in a philosophical manner about this issue, we need to admit that this kind of transformation of the societal relationship was felt thousands of years ago for the last time, when the writing skills were just invented. This was the first way to transfer information. Now we have a totally different level of transfer of ideas, opinions, interaction, and help and support towards each other. That's why here it is reasonable to speak about the state. So, dear colleagues, as for the Parliament, 2021 has become one of the biggest breakthroughs breakthroughs in the Ukrainian legislation creation in the digital sphere. Last year, the Parliament of Ukraine has prepared and adopted such an amount, such a quantity of digital laws which can be compared with all the previous years, and the revolutionary character of those laws can be obvious, and it was partially mentioned already. First of all, I will mention about the most important of them, and I would like just to remind you. April 2021, the law on digital passports or documents, as it was mentioned already, we have become the first country in the world which has acknowledged the status of a digital document, of a digital passport. Then July 2021, an incredibly important law about paperless. These are the digital revolutionary norms to amplify and implement e-services and the ban to claim documents or passports to witness the... this is the totally new kind of relationship of the state and the human. No queues anymore, no people who earn using those long lines and queues, and a new opportunity to rethink the reality. July again, the stimulation of digital economy of Ukraine, one of the first 3 laws of Diia City, the unique law and legal mode which we were speaking about for the IT companies and creative industry. By the way, 2 other necessary laws were adopted in the end of the last year as well. November, the law on public e-registers. Finally, we found out and defined the laws of the functioning of the state registers, their protection and not duplication of the information. November again, about the declarative and automatic registration of a person, which is a science fiction. This is the end of this horror. One click and you can declare your place of residence, not just to stand in numerous queues, just let it go and leave. December, the National Commission on Communication and Information. This law draft is opening for Ukraine the doors to the unique digital market of the EU with the whole potential. So I'm sure that we all felt how important those changes are and how perspective they are. And during those days, the Parliament is going on with its work on digitalization. I would just like to remind you that now we have the work going on the incredibly important laws, in particular about the cloud services, about the e-residency, the portfolio of laws about cybersecurity and legalization of bug bounty and pen tests. This is the law about the e-census and so on. All of those laws are planned to be adopted as soon as possible. So this year we are planning to update the legislation on the protection of private data and e-services. Dear colleagues, the Ukrainian Parliament used to be and is still a reliable partner of the people of Ukraine on its way to implement the new reality, the new digital reality, and new fair and equal digital reality. Thank you so much, and God help us. Thank you. We'll give the floor to the Prime Minister of Ukraine, Mr. Denis Shmyhal. Dear Mr. President, dear Head of the Parliament, dear Ukrainians, our partners, and respectful team of the Ministry of Digital Transformation, which has spent incredible efforts for all of us to see, in fact, the implementation of our dream, digital state, is reality in Ukraine. So we really spent lots of substantial efforts all together. We used to want and we still want for the services in Ukraine to be implemented as a convenient way as possible, and the citizens to get them where it is convenient for them in the timely manner when it is necessary. When our partners are asking, how do you cope to achieve that? The answer on the one hand is simple, but on the other hand is not that simple as it always is. This is the people, the team and the structure. We purposefully, 2 years ago, have begun to construct the structure which allows us to implement the dream. And this structure is the breakthrough and throughput for all of our state central authorities, ministries, besides the big professional team of the Ministry of Digital Transformation. In fact, we've implemented the position of the CDTO. chief digital transformation officer in each of the central authority, in each of the ministries. This tendency is going on in the cities, in the regions, in the oblasts, and in fact we are finalizing the formation of the structure at the regional level. But the result, the outcome which we have now is the work in each of the authorities for us to get those services and this structure really to lead us to the outcome, to the proper result. Well, of course, we've been working on the as big amount of services as possible for our citizens, and you can see that we've implemented lots of programs. Last year, with the initiative of the President, there was a necessity to implement the support program for the people as we had COVID, as it happened all over the world. So Ukraine, just in a month, has taken a decision with the initiative of the President and has developed a special app, a special software, and more than 800,000 people have got 8,000 hryvnia each in the regions where it was necessary, where people were awaiting for that. It was one of the quickest, the most rapid projects which have been implemented. This experience was also asked about by our international partners, and we are really moving along and forward. So in fact, we have this one-time assistance, money assistance for the sole proprietors and hired employees was done in an unprecedented way with a high quality and rather rapidly in a targeted way. Then we had following challenges. In the current winter, the team of the government has implemented the project of the President of Ukraine, Is Support, which is first of all created for the support of the Ukrainian businesses, but on the other hand to motivate the Ukrainians to vaccinate. So in fact we encouraged hundreds of thousands or maybe even millions of Ukrainians to get the vaccine, then to get the booster dose, and the fully vaccinated Ukrainian can get 1,000 hryvnia and to spend it for the spheres which were affected by COVID most of all. As it was mentioned by the President of Ukraine today, those are cinemas, gyms, theaters, museums and books. And of course, we've showed the whole world that Ukrainians are the reading nation, the educated nation. 1/3 of Ukrainians are buying books for this money. So I would like to say that today Ukraine has become the only country in the world where the state support can be acquired just in several clicks in the smartphone. This is also the reality, which is also deserves the pride and respect. And today, almost 8 million of Ukrainians have got money within Is Support project, and we are expanding this service, covering and grasping more spheres. Thanks to digitalization, we can do it quickly and in a convenient way. The figures are changing every day. Those are substantial numbers, and today they are even higher than you can see on the screen. Today we have the first figure is 9.6 million, 8.6 million, and almost 8 billion of payments. The figures are changing and every day, and it's very interesting to observe how quickly this state service is getting on its way. In summer, thanks to the well-prepared and done work, the Ukrainians were one of the first in the world who were able to travel with the digital COVID certificates to the EU countries. We've created the necessary infrastructure to get the certificates as fast as possible and to implement the instant sharing of the data with other countries. It used to be years to spend to implement that. We did not only open the borders with the EU, but we also provided the service of getting the COVID certificates, because after the inoculation procedure you can just order this certificate in Diia app. You don't need to get to the doctor to get all the papers and certificates, to sit in the long queues at the offices, which is incredibly important under the conditions of the pandemic. And we also achieved that digitalization is one of the most efficient ways to counteract against corruption, because the prevention and just the elimination of corruption was always much more efficient than any penitentiary actions. Thanks to the issue of the fully automated services where you don't need state officials, the Ukrainians are saving billions of hryvnia and thousands or maybe dozens of thousands of hours of their own time. The results of the polls let us speak about the substantial economic effect on the implementation of e-services. So it's important to feel the figures. In 2 years, the economic effect potentially through the polls is approximately 42 billion hryvnia. So the savings in the absolute figures is almost 60,000 man-years. That is, one person should have provided those services for 60,000 years, which the Ukrainians got instantaneously, without spending any time, without additional clicks or participants of people. So the current level of the use of e-services is giving us an opportunity today, in all those 42, the real saving is 14.7 billion during 2020 to 2021. And I emphasize again, the more services we are transferring into online, the more transparent our country is. We get away the mediators, we make corruption impossible, we implement the new support programs, we improve the existing ones, we make the Ukrainians' life more convenient. Thank you so much. Glory to Ukraine. Dear ladies and gentlemen, please meet the Vice Prime Minister, the Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, Mikhail Fedorov.
Hi, everybody. Before we start, I wanted to thank the President and the First Lady that's here with us. We know that President Macron has come to Ukraine at 11 a.m. I mean, he could have come a bit later because we have a very important event here, but I know that you're always with us, and we always stand with you. And I'd like to wish you very important, successful, important negotiations. So we're with us. I mean, thank you. We all thank you a lot. And we will start. We act to build the digital state, and for everyone who wants to open their business and who doesn't want to open their business to do what they want, your family, your house, your kids, so that everything happens here and now, where you are, so that you could get residence, so you could get instant documents, so that the ministry works for you and not you for them. Diia is for you. Act with us to live easily, so that kids live with you, and act so that you're proud, so that you come back, so that you never give up. Here and now, here and here. Let's act together. Hi, everyone. Hello once again. 2 years of Diia, 2 difficult years, which we spent 24/7 with our team. And today you have heard about the world's first e-passport and about the most massive service such as e-support, such things as e-baby, the driver's license, and the service connected to the construction sector, which is killing corruption in the bud. But this is but a small percentage of what we've been doing in these 2 years. And today, we would like to present you the entire product ecosystem which we have launched in these years. And we would like to share our philosophy with you. On the screen, you can see the life cycle of a citizen through the prism of our Diia products. In the previous 2 years, we strove to transform the most important and the most critical services, to eliminate bureaucracy and lines, especially during the pandemic, so that we contact less where it's not necessary. And for 2 years, we've been focusing on the services which were the most massive and the most crucial for you. But imagine that you were born in a country where Diia is fully implemented. So your first albeit unconscious contact with the state, is in the maternity hospital. I mean, your parents would encounter the state quite consciously, but they will have to register you through the e-baby program. But consciously, you would encounter or meet the state and interact with the state when you come to school. So last year, we have launched 700 academic registers, which are fully digitized, and we're continuing to scale this. We will allow gamification of the academic process and remove administration burden and bureaucracy from teachers and schools. Talking about schools, it's very important to transform the academic process and the study process as it is. During the pandemic, all of the country has shifted to online formats and telework, and the Ministry of Education and ourselves have been quick to react to launch the online Ukrainian schooling platform. Over 270,000 children have watched over 1 million online lessons through the system. And what's very important is that a child from very remote rural areas has equal access to knowledge and content, just the same as someone living in a very metropolitan urbanized area. Another strategic project for us is to transform computer science curricula. And to do that, our teachers need to get laptops, first and foremost, and they need help with that. Last year, together with the Ministry of Education, we have enabled 60,000 teachers to receive new, high-quality, fast laptop PCs. And we also have been able to save over 100 million hryvnias by eliminating corruption, using dashboards, cutting intermediaries, middlemen, and fraudsters from the process. This year, we are starting to transform our computer science curriculum. We want our kids to know not only what a tablet computer is and what a keyboard is, we want our kids to learn how to analyze information, and to learn how to make decisions, and to look for and discover new ideas. We want our children to become who they want to become. And the internet actually allows you and grants you all of these possibilities. We all learn through the internet nowadays, but this is not all. We are also launching an entrepreneurship curriculum in Ukrainian schools. We have already launched a pilot, and it's important for us that children, starting from their classroom, so that they start launching first products, so that they're ready for the digital economy by the time they graduate. Let's move forward. Once you're 14 years old, congratulations. It's high time for you to obtain your first passport. When you're 14, you receive your biometric digital ID, and also you receive a taxpayer identification number. We have streamlined these processes where you can use only one visit to obtain both of these, the taxpayer identification number and the passport. Over 150,000 children have already taken advantage of this service, and this really improves and streamlines communication with the state. And right after receiving an ID card, you receive the world's first fully functional digital passport. We have become the first state to fully equalize the paper and electronic passport. And the electronic passport allows you to generate the digital e-signature, something we're going to talk about later, with which you will be able to do things such as open bank accounts, communicate with the state or businesses. You will be able to share copies of your documents. And this is also a unique success story where you can use a QR code to share a copy of your document with your consent to a bank, to a hotel, to any entity that reasonably can need your ID. And that reduces the amount of paperwork. And this, I believe, is the new development and a breakthrough in consumer behavior. So you'll be able to use your digital password internally anywhere you want. To travel around Ukraine to get any service. And let's be honest, not all state authorities have adopted this, but the trend has been overwhelming, something much more than we would expect. Now, imagine you are applying for a college and you are becoming a student. So you can get an electronic student ID. Now, all of our college students, which are over 750,000 people, have a student ID. And you know, from people I've talked to, nobody has actually cared to pick up their plastic IDs from the college. It looks like they're going to stay there for good. Now imagine you are not a citizen of Ukraine and you want to study in the best country of Ukraine, which is of course Ukraine, right? And to do that, you use the electronic platform that we're working on to apply, to submit all the documents, and while we're building the digital state, so that people who are not citizens of Ukraine encounter Ukraine as a brand. And this is why we're launching the Apply and Study in Ukraine platform. I think our ability to accommodate foreign students is going to increase. And of course, when the students enroll to study in Ukraine, they're going to stay in Ukraine. And to do that, we are going to have an e-digital permit, digital residence permit, which is something akin to a passport for the people who want to stay in Ukraine permanently, and let them stay with us and help us build a new digital economy and take advantage of all of the services which are available to Ukrainian citizens. So we'll work on entrepreneurship not only in schools but also in colleges and universities. In fact, we're focusing on building our country as a country of entrepreneurs, and this is something we truly believe in. 70% of our people at the ministry are people who have come to public service from business, and last year 86 higher educational establishments have introduced entrepreneurship as a subject in their curriculum. We have already certified this program with the Ministry of Education, and we already have 4,000 graduates of this program who have generated 4,000 ideas, some of which might as well become billion-dollar unicorns. And after you have had this entrepreneurship curriculum and you have your successful idea and you want to do some groundwork, you can come to Diia Business, which is the first ever for Ukraine public service where you can get a business consultation. And it's not only about just registering yourself and paying your taxes. You can actually ask anything. How to build an organizational structure? How can you build organizational culture, managerial culture? How do you launch online ads to reach a wider audience or take advantage of any popular online tool? So we have launched 11 brick-and-mortar offline centers in Ukraine. All of them look similar. And of course, we have spent zero state budget money for this, and we do not intend to spend any. This is pure public-private partnership. And we have an online portal who grants access to these centers for the people who live in remote areas. So congratulations, you can become an entrepreneur. We actually welcome you to. Please apply and come see us. So after you've gotten the ropes of business and you know what you want to do, you already have a prototype and you have a pilot of your product, you can apply to the Ukrainian Startup Fund, which is the largest angel investor in our country. Please look at the figures. We have an immense number and volume of grants, and this is something you don't have to pay back. They have an amazing board, and I think a lot of graduates of this program might become very important companies. So once you've built your pilot, you have your clients, the Ukrainian Startup Fund is for you. Okay, let's say you have a business model, you already have received funding, and you need to you have to register your business. You can also do it with a Diia portal. The president has mentioned today that before we built our digital state, we aimed for a 1 hour time frame, and now we can actually do it in 7 minutes. So almost 70% of all businesses opened in Ukraine are being opened online. Before 2019, this was only for sole proprietors, but now we have fully re-engineered the service. We have fully reimagined it. Because before, only 5% of entrepreneurs would register through the service, but now it's 67. But we hope that in a couple of years it's going to be 90+%. And not only for sole proprietors, but for all businesses. You're definitely going to get income. You're going to do just fine. And by proxy of that, you're going to pay taxes. And Diia actually facilitates that. This is a new service which we have launched. Hundreds of millions of hryvnias are making their way into the state budget thanks to Diia. You can file your tax return, and you can actually pay the tax amount. And you see how this ecosystem completes itself. Now, let's go on. Now we're working on licenses and permits so that you can get the... Let's say if your business is specific and it requires some permit or license, we are striving to make those available to you electronically as well. And this year we strive to do it to cover the entirety of this. Let's say you're making money, you pay your taxes, everything's developing, and now you meet the love of your life, who you want to spend hopefully all of your life with. So let's say you want to get married. And now you can file an application for registration of marriage. And you don't have to visit any registrar. You just do it online, then you just marry. Minimal communication with the state. Because honestly, there are much better things you want to do at that point of your life than interact with the state, right? Let's say you've made enough money to buy a car. You have a car, and myself, just like 5 million other fellow drivers in Ukraine, who take advantage of their driver's license, car registration documents, and insurance registration documents in Diia. I carry none of this in my pocket anymore. I even forgot where I put them. But this is only the beginning, because now, today, we're going to present the new designated driver service, where you could share your car registration documents through your app in just a couple of taps on the smartphone. You can transfer your car registration to a different driver to allow them to drive your car. I've been waiting for this for a long time, and I hope you have too. And actually, if you have just received your driver's license and it's due for renewal in 2 years, you can also do it through Diia. You don't have to visit a service center. And you are a good driver. But, I mean, things happen, right? I see things on social media, people post pictures and videos. Some people would drive a bit fast. I mean, none of you would do that, right? But there are some of these people who would do that. And now your fine notifications come right into Diia. And they could pay the fines and penalties in just a couple of taps and a couple of seconds. But there are some people who have not installed Diia, and they haven't seen the notification, and they don't use their banking apps, and they haven't seen the notification. Let's say an enforcement proceeding has been opened, and if they don't install Diia, they will not be able to see this notification. But in order to avoid property arrests and asset freezes, you can see a notification about an enforcement proceeding. And even if people haven't installed Diia by then, I mean, they said, let me wait. Let's say they have been sued and they are party to a court proceeding, to a litigation. We have launched a service where you're notified if you're a party to a litigation, and who your judges, when the hearing is, and when you have to show up. But I mean, I really wish you never have to use this. And also, you're going to see a lot of new services, and a lot of these services use personal data. Let me reiterate this once again. Diia does not store any of your personal data. It only forwards your personal data from stored in the state registers. And we aim to notify you in any case when a public official or anyone else receives access to your public data for any reason. We have piloted this by launching notifications about checking your credit history. So when your credit history is being looked into by a bank or by a public official, or you can know who it is and why, and you can always get in touch if it's not you or if you have not expected it. And to do this has allowed us to cut 700 fraud schemes in their bud. And of course, there are still fraud schemes with paper documents, but we are trying to combat that as much as we can. So let's talk about construction. Let's say you're successful in your business, you've been making money, or you're a valued employee and you're making money, and time has come for you to build a house. Now, you can receive a permit almost automatically. Why almost? We're going to present this today, and it's going to become fully automatic very soon. But we have implemented a tiny anti-corruption reform in one sector. And the philosophy is that we have changed the entire principle from waiting for a permit to notification. You basically notify the state of what you want to do, and if the state does mind, they will let you know, but not the other way around. Let's say you've built your house. You have a new house or a new apartment or whatnot, and you want to re-register your domicile. We have been fighting this dragon for 2 years, and we have finally defeated it, and you will see a separate presentation of that. Today we've also mentioned eBaby, which means you can do one application to receive 15 public services to register your baby, and 9 out of 10 babies have been registered using the eBaby service. And we see that there's a huge demand for this, and it's really helpful to Ukrainians. And right after registering your baby, you can add your baby's birth certificate to Diia, so that you can also forget about the paper version. Diia cares about everyone, and I mean, there are different situations in life, and this is why we've launched a single parent assistance program in beta, which simplifies the possibility to obtain state protection and state support for single parents. And you have also probably experienced our e-support, cash support service, and this is something that you're going to encounter more and more. A couple of months ago, we've launched electronic hospital sheets or sick leave sheets. And that used to be a huge corruption scheme running for decades. And together with the Ministry of Social Policy, together with the Ministry of Healthcare, we have finally defeated this scheme, and we have now launched fully electronic sick leave certificates. And in order to close or to finalize your sick leave, you don't have to visit the hospital either. You all know about COVID certificates. You wouldn't have made it here without a valid COVID certificate, so you all probably know about the service. But now we're working with the Ministry of Healthcare to implement an electronic patient dashboard. I hope you never get sick, but if you do, you know who your family doctor is, and if you don't have one, you could just in a few taps select one and file an agreement with your doctor. We have also launched subsidies, state subsidies for utilities. Around 3,500 people have already used it in beta. And we want to streamline and simplify it even further so that people can get it without paper documents and without filing lengthy forms on websites. We have also launched the IDP Certificate. This is something that IDPs really need in a lot of situations. We have also launched the service where you can apply for subsidized housing loans for IDPs, and we try to eliminate corruption from that process as well. Today, we are also launching a new service, which is continuation and termination of monetary assistance for IDPs. This is something that has been badly requested, urgently requested by a lot of citizens. So we care about that, and we try to launch that as well. So let's say you are developing everywhere, you make money, you raise your kids, you pay your taxes. Now you're starting to think about why we elect the officials that we elect, and you want to participate in what's happening in the governance of your village, town, city, region, and country. And this is why we're launching, this is where we're launching e-petitions in Diia. And today we're also launching a new tool called surveys. This is a new step towards direct electronic democracy announced by our president. And this is something we're rolling out already after a new update. So you can vote for things and you can see how you can influence the policy of the country. We truly believe that each one of you is at the center of our digital state, and we hope to launch the services together with you, and we would want you to prioritize those for us. We want to ask you what you would rather have first. We want to create a new culture of direct democracy, and this is the first step towards implementing the president's program towards e-democracy. We're also working with the pension system, and we have been testing a lot of new services, including the pension ID. This is something that our grandmas and grandpas can use this document, can obtain and use this document in all their important situations. So 2 years of Diia, a lot of products we have launched in this time, and you see our way of thinking now, our philosophy. We're trying to determine the most crucial services and most critical services for Ukrainians thanks to our organizational structure with CDTOs, but we also don't forget about the key components of the digital state. Those are not turtles and elephants. And it's something that you don't notice as much as Diia, because Diia is the front end that you encounter in the smartphone. But let's say that the turtle that holds it all is our broadband internet access. This is something that is the backbone of all of our services. And in these 2 years, we have done a lot to increase internet penetration all across Ukraine. We're working with telcos, we're working with internet service providers to enable quality 4G access to over 9 million Ukrainians. But in the previous year, we have implemented an amazing and efficient project where we have connected over 3,000 villages to high-speed broadband. And this is more than 1 million of Ukrainians who have never in their life have enjoyed fixed broadband access. And now they have a possibility to develop and become just who they want to become. Of course, this is not Netflix, but this is similar. This is Diia Digital Education, where we educate our senior citizens to take advantage of basic digital services. Here we involve our celebrities and our experts to make it interesting and useful for our senior citizens to take advantage of our digital services. Here you can find out about how to pay your utilities and taxes, and also how artificial intelligence works. And this is a great opportunity to send a link to this Diia Digital Education resource to your loved ones. We also don't forget about what's happening offline, because there are a lot of people who believe that vaccination is a 5G chip, etc., whatnot. I'm just kidding. But they still use, bottom line is they still use offline services. And they receive it in the administrative service centers. And we have built the network of these administrative service centers. And our philosophy is so that people can receive our services offline if they are unable to receive them online for whatever reason, because our state is about equality. But as we launch online services, we offload some of the workload from the service centers and thus make them more streamlined and more effective. We are also working day and night very hard about cybersecurity. This is something we've been working very hard. And from the launch of Diia, 80% of our time we've been spending on cybersecurity, because we understand that we need to build the resilience of the products that we create. Right now, we are sponsoring several draft laws which will facilitate building a resilient digital state. One of the bills that we've been promoting is the legalization of bug bounty programs at the state level, so we can bring on board white hat ethical hackers to pen test our products in good faith. As we build the digital state, which over 14 million of Ukrainians have already taken advantage of, as we transform what we can transform, as we combat corruption, other countries have been developing as well. And this is something that we're going to launch today, by the way. And now, 24/7, we are working towards a new goal, because we have a pretty good understanding about how to build the most comfortable state in the world. We know what we have to do. We have 2 years of progress, and we have even more in our plans. And we have a structure, and we will talk about how we are going to develop the structure even further. And now the entire world has been developing. And today, the next question we want to answer is how to become the most comfortable country in the world for talents and technological companies, because the world is globalized. You can relocate, you can move, and we have to fight for our talents. We have to fight for tech companies. We have to fight, and we have to compete for the money of the world. And today we're going to present our vision of this, of what we intend to do to become the most comfortable country in the world for tech companies. And today you're going to see the presentation of Diia City. So that's very briefly about what has been happening for the last 2 years and about our thinking process and philosophy. And now I would like to pass the floor to the next speaker. And today, the new online services will be presented by the Minister of Internal Affairs of Ukraine, Denis Monastyrsky.
So, hello everybody, thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister and the Vice Prime Minister, because you've already told everything from my presentation, in fact, so I could finalize my speech now. But in fact, it is the matter of principle that today the Ministry of Interior is the part of Diia Summit, because the digitalization for me equals this service, and this service equals security. That is why we do understand, in fact, that digitalization just disconnects the state official and the citizen and makes the service not only convenient but decreases the corruption factors. That is why I present 3 services which have already been mentioned, but in more specific facts. First, the certificate of no... no criminal record. This is one of the most accessible and most problematic services which are provided by the services of the Ministry of Interior. They are requested for more than 500,000 per year. It is needed to begin your work, to take participants in the tender procedure, to have the custody, to have the citizenship, to get or to update the documents, and to even be participating in the territorial defense, which is very important. So, in fact, since today, with the help of Diia signature, you can order this criminal record certificate online, and this is the huge step forward. The next service is important for each of us, and for me personally as well, the proper user issue, because the legislation has implemented the proper user long ago, but now we've introduced only 40,000 of these users, designated drivers, to the register. Why? Because it was not made properly. Since today, the designated driver will be done through the app of Diia. Very often, when the husband and the wife is using their common vehicle, so since today, you don't need to give the proper license, but you can just share this service through Diia app with your spouse. But do not forget that when you give the documents to your wife, you should warn that she will be the one who will get the fines as well, instead of you. Please watch the screen. It's cool that I can share my lessons in the Diia, so I can scan it and I have the document. Cool. And the last service for today is the above-mentioned automatic registration of your residence. For me personally and for the whole team which was working on that, and it was the team of the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Defense, the Migration Service, the MP is really the digital revolution, because it's the most needed and very bureaucratized service. What do we have today? Every third Ukrainian today is living at a different place in comparison with the place of registered. Maybe a statistic shows there are some people among us who do that. More than 1 million of Ukrainians are living without the registration of the place of residence. So just yesterday, to have those circles of hell, you had to go to the SNAP or the Center of Administration Provision Services twice, for the men to get to the military committee twice, maybe even sometimes you had to do everything from scratch and to re-register your documents and to bring the owner of the place where you reside. But after we have the digital passports as the ID card, everybody was amazed, because this paper, which we had to bring with ourselves, which could show the place of your registration, is not needed. Since today, first and foremost, you can inform about your place of residence declaratively through the portal or through the app of Diia, without a single visit to the Center of Administration Services or military committees. All of the other authorities will be informed automatically. Secondly, the decision about the place of residence will be also automatic, without the consideration of the people, state officials, without spending time, wasting time and refusals. Then, the form number 13 and the stamp, as well as the Soviet rudiment, is forgotten now. So in several minutes you will be able to order, either through Diia or in the portal, any of the extracts and to provide it to any of the state authorities. And lots of medical social services are not connected to the place of residence, which is a real revolution in itself, and the reform of the registration of residence institution, which does not exist in the legislation. Now it will stop its existence in the state authorities. Let's see how it is working. In childhood, we were moving so often. This was the job. The reason was the job of my parents. Cities, grants, schools. We were not staying at one place for very long. We were not staying because the older picture made this house a home until we moved to our own home to make create a new one. We're changing the place of residence, so you can change it in app of Diia. So, I appeal to each third Ukrainian who was waiting for today to finally register your new place of residence, to make it today online. And finally, I would like to express my gratitude to all of the partners who are working on Diia project, who is involved in that. I am sure that even during this short presentation, the number of users of app Diia has increased because the number of services is just incredible. And I'd like to announce the points which we will implement this year in Diia app. First of all is re-registration of your vehicle in Diia, the update of the certificate of the driver's license, and third, the application towards police through Diia. We are creating the service digital country together. Thank you for your attention. And now we have the Ministry of the Development of Communities and Territories of Ukraine, Oleksiy Chernyshov, on stage. Good day, esteemed participants of Diia Summit, who are present here, and those who've joined us online. I'm so happy to see you and to welcome you. My name is Oleksiy Chernyshov. I'm the Ministry of the Development of Communities and Territories of Ukraine, and maybe some of you have the question, what does it have in common with digitalization? So the Ministry of Regional Development in particular is responsible for the implementation of the reform of city construction, and digitalization for the construction sphere is just the foundation of the building. So the Ministry of Regional Development and Ministry of Digital Transformation together are creating the code of transparent and powerful Ukraine. Today I'd like to present the outcomes of a very important reform, the reform of a construction sphere. The construction sphere, which unfortunately for years used to be very corrupt. And we know about all of that together. Everybody knows that the system has totally compromised itself, and each stage was grey, and the annual amounts of bribes were of billions of hryvnia. So the first step to replace the well-known register, we've developed the open and secure register, where each of the records is signed by the e-signature, and all of the construction objects have a unique number. But to implement the reform, it used to be important to take a decision on the Instruction Bureau as the organization. We had to liquidate it because the reform or reorganization was just impossible without that. So that is how we got rid of this institution and created, instead of it, the State Inspection of Architecture and City Construction of Ukraine. Just imagine, today, the outcome of this commission work during those 4 months, and you can see that at this slide, 99 applications of the users are processed during 24 hours. As for the taking of the objects into action, this decision is taken during 3 days. It used to take for months and was too long prolonged for a very substantial period of time. The second stage of the digital transformation of the digital reform has become the implementation of the public portal e-construction. It provides very convenient access to the information from the register as the map, which totally mentions all of the objects. All of the objects have their own individual code, which is connected with a QR code, which you can see already at a specific land lot where the construction is done. More than 1 million of the users of the portal are there, 56,000 of the provided services. A couple of words about the services themselves. I do remember that last year we have presented the first services on the portal of Diia. Today they are already 14. The most popular of them are shown at this slide in front of you, and today I have a great honor to present a very important new service, which will be the 15th one. This is the service, it has the name of the automatic permit or permit for construction. So today, if we have all the necessary documents and papers which are uploaded into the system, the permit will be provided automatically. So the state won't be able to take part in this decision-making process. This right belongs to the developer or the customer if he or she has the necessary documents. So this decision is taken not by the human, but by the system itself. This is a very important point. Today, the human being is not in the decision-making process as for the permits issuing, and the time is much shorter. The corruption is totally eliminated. To conclude, our aim, thanks to the digital transformation, to make the construction sphere as transparent as possible, attractive for the investors, comprehensive for the developers, and the most important point for the people, and to create comfort in each of the communities and hromadas. Thank you for your attention. We go on, and I give the floor now to the member of the Parliament of Ukraine, the head of the party of the Servant of the People, Ms. Olenna. I'm happy to welcome such a huge audience in this hall, and also the bigger audience which is observing and watching the Diia Summit online. In 2019, I used to be one of the authors who have implemented one of the bravest digital laws of Ukraine, which was about the digital unified system in the construction sphere. This system has become the beginning of the reform which was mentioned by the previous speaker. This system is making the whole construction sphere open, adds some transparency and public character to it, and the most important thing is the positive experience of the successful transformation of the whole branch. So I would like, at the next Diia Summit in a year, for us to speak about this successful experience in the customs, in the social services, in the state tax service. So I think that definitely we will cope to do that. And now let's come back a bit to the construction sphere. We were managed to implement a very unique case when the decision is taken not by a state official. The decision is taken by the system, when precisely and understandably through the algorithms, the system is checking all of the data from the certain registers and registers, in fact, the document. Such unique services last year could be provided for the objects of the class of SS1, and now the automatic permit can be given directly for all of the construction objects. And it means that one of the most corrupt services in Ukraine is just vanishing. So As for this automatic registration of the services, we can speak about it when we start up a business. And now the sole proprietors are also created automatically without the participants of the state officials when the registration of the residence place is done. This is one more service without the participants of the state officials and no corruption involved. By the way, last year the parliament has adopted the law draft, which has already become a law. This is the law on paperless, and according to it, our government can adopt the list of services which are provided to the citizens and businesses automatically and can be implemented rather quickly. So I would like this year, for the services which are concerning pensions or about subsidies, would definitely get into this list of automatic services from the state. The law draft on paperless also gives an opportunity. In several instances, in moments, in several clicks, the business can giving one application, the whole portfolio of services, all the necessary permits and registrations, all the necessary applications. As we can see, Ukraine has achieved really high digital outcomes, but our ambitions are even higher. So I'm really grateful for the support which you provide to us, our citizens, our Ukrainians, because all of us know that the digital development depends on us. We all support Diia, and the most important point, we'll work on and on. Thank you. We give the floor now at the stage to the Deputy Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine on the... Mr. Bornyakov. On the development of IT. Hello everybody, dear guests who is watching us online. My name is Alexander Bornyakov and I will tell you today about our vision of the development of the digital economy of Ukraine. So the thing which we are creating now is the ecosystem of the conditions for the development of technological business. We are implementing special conditions which will be accessible to the citizens at any corner of Ukraine. We are creating the digital country as it is. What ecosystem is? Ecosystem consists, first of all, of the people and IT education. Then, this is access to the capital. And also, we have the regulatory and regulation space. So, the human potential has become the reason for the really rapid development of information technology. And the informal education is so important for the IT sphere. So, we initiate the companies which are working in the education technologies not to pay VAT. We are implementing and developed the program on the improvement of qualification of the teachers of computer sciences in all of the schools of Ukraine. We know that switches is the huge staff database for the IT. So we've developed the program for the retraining, and the state will reimburse 50% of the price of this training for everybody who desires to get it. Together with the Ministry of Education, we are working on 15 spheres of strategic, together with the parliament as well, to transform it and to give the opportunity for the human capital to grow even faster, as there is the huge staff request from the technological business. The access to the capital. Ukraine has lots of talents and lots of perspective ideas, so for each of the Ukrainians to get access to the capital to implement their ideas, he or she should have access to the investments. Capital is the fuel for the startup or the system. Even if you create a perfect vehicle, it will never go without the fuel. So we've created several tools who make access to the capital very rapid and quick. Convenient and comfortable investments. Today, the business cannot wait for months for the investments. We need to take decisions as fast as possible. So within Diia City, we've made this process as fast as possible. And today, the tools which have been implemented are working in any corner of Ukraine. They are just similar to the ones used in London or Luxembourg. the funds. The state has to invest into the technological startups of Ukraine. 50% of the state co-funding into the private investment funds is the huge argument to attract huge foreign funds, local ones. Almost $12 million, which we have foreseen in the budget, will lead, through the fund of funds, will lead to 46 million of accessible money into the investments of the projects. The accelerator of the startups, together with Ukroboronprom, we are planning to develop together and accelerate to create incubation of hardware startups, with the focus on the defense sphere, space sphere, scientific sphere, for them to achieve global markets, looking at the example of the American DARPA in attracting investments. The regulations space, when the idea is transformed into business, it is so important to have the convenient conditions of the regulatory environment. And first of all, it's Diia City, the most important initiative for the country. So today we announced about its start, but I will not dwell upon those details. Rather soon my colleague Natalia Mikhail will tell about it. Also, we are developing artificial intelligence. We are beginning and starting a very ambitious project on the development of the course in Ukrainian language. The Ukrainian language should become global and digital. Synthetic speech, machine learning, the data search, that's what's named NLP, but not the NLP which you are thinking about. I'm thinking about the natural language processing. And also we are opening virtual borders of Ukraine for everybody who desires, for all of the businesses. We are developing e-residency. And now we've already adopted in the first reading the law, which, concluding, would like to achieve the situation when all of the services in the Diia for business were accessible for us, Ukrainians, and would be accessible to the foreigners as well. Virtual assets. We are also searching for the new opportunities for the growth of the digital economy. And it seems to us that crypto industry should become a very powerful driver for the development of the digital economy of Ukraine. Just imagine. In 2021 only, the crypto industry has increased 5 times. The traditional branches of economy, well, I don't know such branches which would grow so quickly. $33 billion were invested by the venture investors into the blockchain ecosystem. We consider that Ukraine can become a convenient, comfortable country for the crypto companies from all over the world, to introduce companies with multi-billion capitalization from all over the world, to increase, to grow with the number of investments and startups. All of that is the ecosystem, which leads us to our aim. And our goal is the following: for each of the Ukrainians to be able to create the modern company in Ukraine, and to grow to bring up this unicorn under the Ukrainian flag, for each of us to realize ourselves here, not to go somewhere abroad. It is real, and we'll do it. Thank you. We welcome here at the stage the head of the sphere for the development of IT industry, Natalia Lirikeva.
Hi everyone. Today a lot has been said about Diia City, but it's become my honor to present the project that we've been working on for almost 2 years. Before embarking on this reform, we have spent a lot of time on studying the experience of the most successful technological companies in states, accommodating technological companies. And we found that success is truly impossible without systemic and deep, comprehensive changes. Disruptive change allows businesses to grow and to accelerate economy. And almost every one of the cool technological companies, when they were selecting their home state, their home base, here's what they focused on: protection of investment. This means that both the tech companies and investors have to be completely sure about the security of their investments. Low taxes. We all understand and know a lot of cases that attractive taxation would stimulate a company to open or even relocate its R&D centers into some other jurisdictions. Synchronization with global legislation. We all know that major international investors are not very keen to adapt to the peculiarities of local jurisdictions. Conversely, they strive to find familiar playbooks and jurisdictions that they consider. Also, each business is looking for the jurisdiction where the state considers them a client and creates an optimal ecosystem for them. And what's also important is education and investments into the human capital. Creating schools, colleges, and universities would always goes hand in hand with the creation of a digitized economy. Any country which would strive to become successful and transition to a new level and to go into the higher league had to spend time, money, and resources and invest them into their human capital. We've seen this. We have analyzed this. We have collated this information and tried to understand that. And we tried to adapt it to the realia of Ukraine. And this is the foundation of Diia City. So what is Diia City? Diia City is a unique taxation and legal regime for tech business, which extends to the entire territory of Ukraine and has a number of stimuli and tools and stimuli available to the tech companies who would want to develop in Ukraine. While we were building Diia City, we were trying to create new advantages, but also not fix what's not broken. We know that the sole proprietor phenomenon with low taxation has become a major driver for both outsourcing and product companies all across Ukraine. But this is not enough anymore. We need to reform corporate taxation, and we need to create transparent and understandable corporate structures if we want to move forward into the major leagues. We now strive for companies not only to work in Ukraine and develop their product in Ukraine, but also to consider their Ukraine as their home base. So more about this. I'd like to start with taxation. We have been able to maintain the level of taxation which has for years incentivized the development of Ukrainian tech. And this has been made available to us because we analyzed a very understandable model of gig economy and gig workers, which is understandable and known to global players. And now we have been able to legalize it in Ukraine. It's completely legal, it's completely transparent for investors, and because we know that very often when an investor invests money into a company, they actually invest it first and foremost into the team. So their possibility for the investor to transparently and legally demonstrate the entire team and their roles and their engagement with the company. So for the gig contracts, we have personal income tax is 5% and social contribution is about $50 plus 1.5% of wartime contribution. So we've been able to almost maintain the same tax regime as it used to be. But to move forward, we need to work with corporate taxes. Because it is corporate tax which is the most complicated for business right now. Within Diia City, a resident company will be able to flexibly select the taxation regime. They can select their 18% income tax or the dividend tax or capital egress tax of 10%, which is a very good idea for startups, because we know that small companies would reinvest the vast majority of their income into the company. This is why the capital egress tax or the dividend tax is the best choice, in our opinion, for swiftly developing companies. But this is not the only incentive for reinvesting. In Diia City, we have implemented a number of incentives for angel investments. We have a 0% tax for dividends if they're paid out less often than 2 years for residents of Diia City. Thank you. And now, let's look at how this translates into real figures and compare it to other jurisdictions. Let's say company X has made $200,000 in a year, of which $25,000 is revenue and others is distributed revenue. 10 people worked for the company with a salary of $1,400 per month. Oops. That's going a little bit forward. As you can see, the taxation load for Diia City is better than anything available in our region and probably in the entirety of Europe. And of course, taxation is not all. There's education, there's law enforcement, there are other things, but the first step has been made with confidence. And our mission now is to implement this reform. But taxation is not the only component of Diia City. Diia City implements a number of particularities of English law. And because we don't have to reinvent the bicycle, but we create the opportunities for Ukrainian companies to talk to potential investors using their language. Things such as convertible loan, liquidation preference, stock options, warranties and indemnities, liquidated damages will help our companies engage investment by incorporating in Ukraine. All of this makes Ukraine a very attractive jurisdiction. Our team has been consulting a wide array of Ukrainian and international companies, and we know that there are many, many companies who want to become residents of Diia City. We have prepared a communications package available in many languages, and this is something that I want to introduce you to. A space. Sometimes there's too little space, or sometimes there's so much space that it would send shivers down your spine. That's a good sign. There's room to grow. Tech business in Ukraine needs space to act, and this is why we have created Diia City, which is a unified economic and legal regime for tech. There's no compromise between profit and legality. So the legal tools would be the same for London and Ukraine. People have a say in their contract and get social guarantees. And the law enforcement agencies do not exert pressure and create space for investment for both the Ukrainian companies and international companies. This is both for Sergey, Volodymyr, and Nazar, and this guy right here. Join in. So, at this, I would like to wrap up my presentation. And right now, I would like to announce the official launch of the Diia City project. We really wait for your applications. And in conclusion, I'd like to say this. You know, the world used to say, we work with Ukrainian tech because it's cheap. And now they say, we work with Ukrainian tech talent because they're the best. I really believe that in the entire world, they will say that we work for Ukrainian tech in the very close future. Thank you. We'd like to invite the founder of SoftServe, the head of the Ukrainian IT community, Taras Kitsmey. Dear participants of Diia Summit and online audience, we are thrilled by the development of our tech industry in the last 25 years. And the latest surveys of our association demonstrate that we have 5,000 tech companies with the export revenue of $6.5 billion, and 300,000 tech specialists with a figure which has grown in 25–30% per year, which is amazing. The corporations build and grow based on the latest global trends. And if we look at the analysis of major players, we would see that the global digital economy is going to grow 12–13% per year, which creates practically untapped opportunity and limitless opportunities. And if we take advantage of this in the next 10 years, we can become a part. We can create a $25–30 billion industry, and this is a chance we really need to take advantage of. But now, not only companies compete in the global markets, but ecosystems compete in the global market. And if we talk about such far-reaching plans, we need to do that. We need to base on something more than the low-tax sole proprietorship model. We need to build corporate law. And today, we are launching the special legal regime of Diia City. Our company, SoftServe, has development offices in a lot of countries of the world. And I would like to say that Diia City, in our opinion, is the best legal regime for developing and incentivizing tech in Ukraine, in Europe, and probably in the entire world. Natalia Denikeva has mentioned a number of advantages of this regime, which is a unique form of cooperation of talent with companies through gig contracts and the taxation regime. And our company plans to be one of the trailblazers in Diia City. We are working on filing our application as early as today. Probably it's being submitted as we speak. I'd like to say a few words about the conditions of our close cooperation between the government and business in which this legislation was developed. The Ministry of Digital Transformation has been cooperating and consulting with tech associations of the country. And it hasn't been easy, let me tell you that. There have been a lot of heated discussions which are still ongoing, which is totally normal for a democratic society. But as a result, we have received a comprehensive piece of legislation which has been reviewed by many eyes and which will hopefully make Ukraine more attractive to international tech corporations, their R&D centers, but also top tech talent in Ukraine, which will hopefully bring new technology, new competencies, and which will enrich our ecosystem. Probably the competition for talent will increase, but at the scale of 300,000 tech talent, this competition is only going to make us stronger, and we are going to become the tech hub of Europe, step by step. I can't help mentioning tech education, computer science curricula, because our tech universities only graduate about 20, 30,000 graduates, while the industry needs no less than 50. And now the most growth of the industry is done thanks to switchers. These are people who come to tech from different areas. So the problem is we don't only need to increase the number of graduates, but we also need to make our education into a magnet which will attract talent both from Ukraine and other countries. Minister Fedorov has made a very ambitious presentation for the development of tech education and curricula. Our association is fully supportive of this strategy and would want to participate constructively in contributing to this. And we want to put not a full stop, but an exclamation mark in the development of this. Thank you very much. And now we're happy to invite Chief Information Officer Daniel Chenji.
Thank you and good afternoon. Apologize for not speaking in Ukrainian. So, my name is Sunil Kanchi. I'm with UST.
At UST, we approach problems a little differently. Humility, humanity, and integrity. Which means we can build without boundaries. We can be nimble and determined, bridging the gap between big ideas and a better future, unlocking the power of technology and creating an impact that lasts. We're engineers and architects, designers and technologists. We co-create with the world's best companies, helping them conquer their toughest business challenges. Born Digital, we embed innovation, agility, and resiliency into everything our clients do. Reach into our toolbox to craft game-changing strategies that drive transformation, break free of convention, and break new ground across the world. We not only transform business, we transform the lives of the people and communities they reach, aspiring to touch 3 billion lives in the process. Because together, we build for boundless impact.
Founded in 1999 and headquartered in California, we still believe and behave like entrepreneurs, even though we are 28,000 people operating out of 30 countries today. And I'm proud to say Ukraine is our 30th operational center, so we're proud to be here. We've been transforming businesses for the last 22 years. 1 in every 7 US health insurance claims is processed by UST's technology. We are the strategic partner for 5 out of the top 10 retailers in the world. We support 2 of the 5 largest US asset management firms and drive business for 3 of the top 8 telco companies across the globe. We've been providing business transformation through digital solutions, platforms, as well as product engineering. We've also been transforming communities, transforming lives through our Step It Up program. Founded in 2013, the Step It Up program now serves over 42 clients globally. Then Vice President Joe Biden in 2014 visited our facility. And recently, in 2021, January, he actually started talking about the UST program of Step It Up. He said they ended up putting city back on its feet and giving people a chance. This program transforms women, minorities, as well as veterans to get jobs in the technology industry. Ukraine is a phenomenally promising global center of intelligence, research, and technology, and we are proud to be here and starting our operations this month. We plan to create 1,500 to 2,000 jobs over the next 18 to 24 months. And the decisive factor for opening the UST offices in Ukraine was the launch of the Diia City program. We've been a strong believer in the industry and government partnership to drive explosive growth. As long as there are legislative changes to protect the investors, simplification of administration, harmonization of legislation and tax regime, from the industry side, what we commit is to create new jobs. As multiple speakers spoke about the ecosystem, we would be a proud participant of the ecosystem, working with universities and creating significant amount of jobs and fueling the startup ecosystem as well. Together, we shall build for boundless impact. Thank you.
Запрошуємо на сцену
Give the floor.
Revolut Operations Manager.
Revolut operation.
Всім привіт. Зараз я це все настрою.
Let me set it up. Just to apologize for that. Last year I was watching Diia Summit online, so I'm happy to be with you here in Kiev today. My name is Dmytro Strelchuk. I was born in Ukraine at the little village at Poltava region, and for the last 6 years I've been working in the UK tax startup Revolut. Today I will tell you a bit about our company, about what we're doing, and why I'm here today. Revolut was founded 6 years ago by Mikhail and Vlad Yatsenko. The product was launched in 2015 in London as a mobile app, which allows you in several clicks to open a bank account or through the mobile app. And also you have a card which is connected to all of the currencies you'd like to save at different accounts in this app. For instance, if you're using the products of the bigger traditional banks and you're paying something abroad, mostly they're using not that profitable currency rate, and the customers, without knowing it, are losing 8 to 20% in each transaction. We don't do that on Revolut. We provide the best prices for our customers, as we don't need to spend money for the obsolete offices. We don't have the obsolete IT infrastructure. In 6 years, we've launched our product in 36 countries of the world, in Europe, Australia, Japan, the USA, and also in Singapore. The clients really love our product. For instance, in Ireland, every 4th grown-up has our app installed. In 6 years, the estimate of our company as this year is $33 billion, which is really cool for such a young company. This is more, for instance, than such big bank as Deutsche Bank. Thank you. Just during the last 2 years, we've attracted more than 1 billion investments into our company. And these investments are spent for the creation of the job places all over the world and the improvement of our product. We are one of the most expensive startups from all over the world, and as of the middle of the previous year, 16 million of customers were using our product. Such types of products as Revolut in the world is called super app, when whatever you need about your personal or business finances can be found in one app. You don't need to think which app to use. The only thing what you need can be found in one app. For instance, if you opened an account being in the UK, or then you moved to the US, then to Singapore, you don't need to think how to open an account in a different country, what I need to use. When I opened the account in Revolut, everything is working instantly. If you're transferring money between the users of Revolut, maybe to your parents or friends, maybe in a different country, those are always just instantaneous transfers of money, and it is for free for our customers. You can analyze your spendings, how much money you spent in Spain last year during your holiday, or maybe for the fuel or the underground during the last 5 years, for instance. You can also book the hotel through our app, and you can also always have the best prices. We are competing with the bigger traditional banks, but also we have some of the products which are not that typical for such traditional financial institutions. I will tell you about some of them today. In our app, you can invest into the shares of the companies in several clicks. If you don't have $3,000 to buy one share of Google, it's not an issue. You can invest beginning with $1. Both the social media, or as the social media, we're showing the top traders who are using our app. You can see what they're buying and selling every day, and also we can copy our strategy for ourselves. In the UK, approximately half of the pets are insured, and last week we launched the project for such insurance in the UK. Also, we are insuring the rented or your own vehicle, medical expenses. If you have the delay of your flight or of your luggage, you can get the reimbursement from Revolut if you have insurance. You can also acquire more than 50 different cryptocurrencies in our app, and also you can invest into gold or silver. If you're buying something from using your computer, for instance, you've chosen wonderful sneakers, and before you pay, we have the plugin for your web browser, which is automatically searching for discounts all over the internet and automatically adds them before you buy them, so you don't need to do anything about it. A short video. Perfect. So we would like to be the biggest IT company in the world, which covers whatever the user needs in the personal or business finances sphere. We are the only global app which we'd like to be used in different countries of the world. It's always simple, the most convenient, and always has the best prices to offer. For that, we would like to invest into Ukraine. We'd like to create job places here. That is why I'm happy to announce that Revolut is becoming the first resident of Diia City in Ukraine today. And also we are opening this year more than 100 vacancies for the technical experts in the world, because our company and the world itself knows that Ukraine has one of the most powerful technical experts. For the technical experts in our company, the company can also share its success with our employees. For the best employees of the company, we provide bonuses as the options for our shares, which can increase in their price. So we're working on the program for our current and future employees in Ukraine to be co-owners of our business. When they develop the products for the whole world, which are loved by millions of users. Thank you. We again gave the floor to the Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine, the Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, Mikhail Fedorov.
So, how did you like that? It's cool, isn't it? I like it too. Well, briefly, to sum up everything you've seen, you see that we have been busy creating a convenient state not only for the Ukrainians, but also for global tech and global talent. I'm sure that a lot of global tech companies will incorporate in Diia City. I think this is the first of our revolutionary steps to become the most convenient state in the world in terms of legal and tax regimes, etc. So join Diia City for everyone who's watching us. I hope that many companies have been watching us. Please join us, join Ukraine, join our new success story. And we continue. I'd like to tell you more about our implementation unit based on the experience of the UK government. We have been analyzing our services, analyzing the usage of our services. We understand that all that we make is in constant need of continuous improvement, and this is a new norm of the 21st century in tech. And for example, we have seen, by analyzing all of our metrics, we have seen that people are experiencing difficulties with e-signature. Remember where you had to spin your head, close your eyes, all that thing. I will just to recap. Diia Signature is a piece of our app that compares your face to the face stored in the demographic registry, and it would use a specially trained neural network to identify you and then allow you to generate the e-signature. So we have relaunched the service, and now you don't have to twist your head. I mean, you have to just blink your eyes. And you have signed, voila, you have signed a document. This is what you had to do before. I have a headache because of Diia Signature. But now, introducing new Diia Signature without the neck gymnastics. Now all you have to do is just blink your eyes and you have signed the document. It could be a lease agreement, it could be any conceivable document in our legal framework. However, here's what I wanted to say. Diia Signature is one of the key foundations of our digital state. This is a technology that allows you not to go to state authorities to generate your e-signature. Diia Signature allows you to... It's a legally binding signature which allows you to apply for and receive any public service. And you can see in the figures that millions of Ukrainians are taking advantage of the service, and I am sure that there is no state that uses this for state services in production yet. You see that we have launched our surveys, and you could see that we have already measured that in less than an hour we have received 12,000 responses, and possibly in a couple of days we're going to have hundreds of thousands of responses, but in an hour we have launched the most popular element of direct democracy yet, and it's already working. You have heard the Prime Minister announced and describe our organizational structure. It's very vital for us to get this political support, to have a network of CDTOs in every public authority. We are populating the state and our apparatus with young, ambitious Ukrainians who want to build a new digital Ukraine. But we would want to go further. We are launching a new educational program. We're enrolling 150 students, and the average cost of this degree is $5,000, but our partners are going to cover all that. So join in, apply, compete, get enrolled, and continue to develop and transform our state. So please use this QR code to register, and we will select the 150 best-equipped students who are going to be grown into full-fledged CDTOs who will help us transform our digital state. But that's not all. But based on the experience of the best product companies of the world, we are launching Diia Challenge. And here I am reaching out to developers, to the designers out there. You can now participate in our challenges and solving our most ambitious tasks and compete to get actual valuable prizes. Now, together with Alpha Bank, we are launching a challenge for back-end developers. Whoever solves this best is going to get a reward, a cash reward of $10,000 each month. We're going to launch this challenge. So people will get money and Ukraine will get access to the top talent globally. I'd like to remind you that we have presented the change in domicile and designated driver and surveys and a lot of other services. Actually, we had 10 more, but we just didn't have enough screen time to present them all to you. So we decided to go for the most crucial ones. We have also presented one of the world's best tax systems through Diia City, and we continue working on this. So I'd like to thank you all for being here. For us, this is truly important, and we feel your energy. We know that all of our partners have been represented here. All of the partners who have participated in or have integrated with Diia Business, or people who have launched or helped launch our services, or the businesses who want to take advantage of our services. So all of you who believe in new Ukraine, Ukraine 2.0, and who's been building this together with us, thank you very much. Our thanks go to you. But we all work a lot. I think we are the movers and shakers of the digital economy of Ukraine, and I'd like to wish you to love and to be healthy. Please be healthy, and all the best to you. But this is just a small part of our team. Here is the team that has been behind the creation of the new history of Ukraine. Here are our developers. These people have been serving our state 24/7. They have actually been developing this. They are showing how it's done to the best global tech companies. So I'd like to thank each and every single member of our team. And I also would like to thank all of the ministers, all of the officials, all of the members of parliament who are supporting us with legislation. For us, it's crucially important. This drives us, and this gives us a boost of energy. We'd also like to thank Visa, which is the general partner of Diia Summit. We have been working with Visa, and Visa has been helping us implement projects and implement financial services, payment services, and they're helping us create a vision of how to amaze you in the next year. Pay your bills and receive services through Diia. And only stand on those lines that you want to stand. You can pay your social contributions and taxes, and also replace your driver's license right before a trip. You can register your new domicile and your new baby. Pay your fine just when you leave the vehicle. If you want to make it on time, you will. Receive services, pay your bills safely, thanks to CyberSource by Visa. We'd like to thank Visa for supporting Diia Summit and to continuously improve our services and our events. You have been instrumental towards making our services safe and useful. And I also would like to thank our friend Oleg Gorokhovsky. He's a person who's been systematically working towards simplifying everything that we do. Monobank and its founder Oleg Gorokhovsky, who create simplicity out of complexity. And trust me, the bureaucratic systems are very complex. And we strive to be like Monobank in everything we do. So a huge shout out with them. Actually, you can open a Mono account in Diia in just a few seconds. We'd like to thank the entire Monobank team who have been helping us with a lot of things. We would also like to give a huge shout out to our international partners. You have been vital and instrumental in building our digital state. And I would like you to see the faces behind all of the agencies, the foundations and programs that are helping us. Both the Electronic Governance Academy of Estonia, who have been sharing the experience with us. The experience of our Estonian partners has been very important. Also the FIAP project within the EU for Digital program, the EU delegation, and EU for Digital UA and IGAP, and the Swiss Agency for Development, IGAP, and the largest anti-corruption services we're launching together with USAID. You see these beautiful people who, I mean, we're always showing you a list of logos, but here are the faces behind these logos who have been working non-stop together with us in order to build a better digital state. I would like to thank UDP, USAID, and the Swiss government, and who are helping us move towards barrier-free social services. For us, it is immensely important. You also can see the businesses who you probably know and use. Those are the partners who helped us organize Diia Summit, and they have helped us create this atmosphere and the content, and those are all our partners. They're all getting on board and building the new Ukraine together with us. And as I prepare for my presentations and when I just go through all of the slides and, we work through our slides, and when I see the overwhelming number of partners, I know that Diia is, should I say, doomed for success, because all of us are involved in Diia, and all of us are the founding fathers and mothers of the new Ukraine. You're all awesome. Thank you very much for being here, for watching us online. We will continue working for you, and in the fall, we're going to welcome you to Diia Summit 4.0. Thank you very much.